Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, Matt's going to be teaching you how to play the main theme to the video game series, now turned TV show, The Last of Us. Now, I actually found out about the video game before I found out about the TV show, and I found out about it because my brother is a big video game player. So anytime I go over to his place, he's usually playing whatever's most popular or whatever has come out most recent. And one day I go over there and he's playing The Last of Us. And if I'm honest with you, it was one of the most boring games I have ever watched him play. I think it's one of those games where you have to play it to have fun. It's not a very fun one to sit and watch. Now, because of that, I was a little bit hesitant to jump into the TV show until a couple of my friends said, dude, you have to watch it. It's amazing. So I gave in and they were completely right. The show is absolutely incredible. So much so that I asked Matt if he was watching it, to which he said yes. And I asked him if he wanted to arrange the theme song. And again, he said yes. Now, this arrangement, I have to give props to Matt because he did a brilliant job putting it onto the ukulele. It sounds authentic like the original recording. He really captured the magic that you hear in the original recording. And I have to say, it's not very hard to play. It's perfect for this seasoned beginner. So if that's where you're at, this should be a good challenge for you. Now, let's take a step back and let's talk a little bit about this lesson. So in this video, Matt's going to be teaching you how to play the entire arrangement. But if you want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, that's going to be available at this link right here. Or you can go to the site, rockclass101.com, and do a search for The Last of Us. Now, also on that page will be the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. This is a really cool feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tab scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a great asset in learning this song that much easier. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Matt to teach you how to play this, and then I'll catch you at the end of the video.
Hello, my name is Matt Dahlberg, and today we're going to be learning a solo high G ukulele arrangement of the main theme from the hit show The Last of Us. This is also from the video game, I think, if I remember correctly from playing it, and it's an absolutely infectious melody. Anyways, how we're going to learn this is really unique because the melody is played on the G string primarily, which is very different than how we usually approach chord melody arrangements, and it makes it a very unique exercise to play, and it's a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and dive in. What we're going to be using for a technique is something that's called 3-finger picking. You're going to be using your thumb, index, and middle fingers. Your thumb's going to kind of station on the G string to start, index on the E, and middle here on the A. Make sure that your index and middle fingers are more perpendicular to the strings to get a good tone, with your thumb a little bit more of a 45-degree angle in front. That's just a good way to get a good tone. Now, this whole thing is played in triplets. So when I'm counting into this, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3 to sort of set it up. So that first measure is very simple. We're going to take our middle finger, place it here on the 5th fret of the G string to create this A minor. And we're going to play triplets of our thumb on the G, our index on the E, and our middle on the A. And we're going to do 4 of these triplets. So it's nice and simple. Make sure that when you're fretting this, that this finger isn't getting too relaxed and touching other strings. We want to let things ring out. So in time, measure 1, the sort of intro part, should sound something like this. Again, counting it with the triplets. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And we actually repeat it, and we play it all the way through twice. So in time, twice through sounds something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Now, the G is the melody, this G string, and this is really important because we want to play that note just a little bit louder. And that becomes more important when we move on to this measure 2. Because we're going to do the same thing. We're going to play the 5, and then 0 on the E, and 0 on the A. And then we're going to play the same order of strings, still G, E, A. But now we're going to take this middle finger, move it down to 2 on the G, play that. And then we're going to take this middle finger, slide it up to 7 on the G. Same little triplet pattern of G, E, A. and then I'm going to move down to 4, and that will complete that measure 2. So in time, measure 2 sounds something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Going into measure 3, you'll notice that there's this little slide marker to start. So you're supposed to slide into that 5, and then otherwise it's exactly the same as measure 1. See how it's exactly identical. That little slide marker is just to kind of remind you to keep the pressure on with the finger. In fact, the whole time you're playing this section, you can keep that pressure on, kind of slide between different places, and that creates this really nice legato type of sound. So measure 3 in time should be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And now measures 2 and 3 should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. See how I keep that pressure on so that when I'm sliding around, it sounds really cool. Going on to measure 4 now. Measure 4 is exactly the same as measure 2. No change whatsoever. So in time, that should be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Going on to measure 5 now, we're going to slide all the way up to the 9 on the G. You can slide from 4, or you can slide somewhere closer. It's just really about keeping that pressure on the finger as you're moving it up. And we're going to play that same pattern that we've been doing, the G, E, A, with the triplets, now just sitting at 9 here with the middle finger on the G string. And so in time, measure 5 is like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And so that you can hear it here is now 4 and 5 together. Should be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. At this point, it actually has a repeat marker. We're going to repeat, not back to the very beginning of the song. We're going to go to measure 2. And we're going to play measures 2 and 3 again. And then we're going to skip measures 4 and 5 on the repeat because that is the first ending. And we go on to measures 6 and 7. So measure 6 is sort of funny because we're going to be playing 8 on the G. So this middle finger is going to go right here on the 8th fret of the G string. We're going to play that. And then I know it sounds wrong. Don't worry, it is correct. Then play the E and A. Move down to 7, E and A. Move down to 5, E and A. And then down to 2. And so this adds that sort of blue note to it. It's a bluesy note. And so what we want for the sound there in time should be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And measure 7, to kind of round out this melody A section, is going to be just this A minor chord. We're already here, A5, the 2 on the G, and we're going to play just our same triplet pattern of the G, E, and A strings together 4 times. Should be like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And measures 6 and 7 should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And so that you can hear it, I'm going to play all of melody A. So remember that repeat we talked about before? That means I'm going to be playing, well, first measure 1 repeated. That's that little intro section. Then I go on to measures 2, 3, 4, 5, do the repeat back to 2, and then do 2 and 3, skip 4 and 5, jump straight to 6 and 7. So following along with the tab on this can certainly help. It seems a little confusing, but when you hear it, it makes pretty good sense. So here is all of melody A. Should sound something like this. Nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And so this is really fun to play because it's a bunch of different sounds with only 3 strings, which makes it really neat. Now when you're playing that slow, it is really easy to lose count of these times that you're playing it. And honestly, that's okay as long as you catch it when you're starting to speed it up. It definitely makes it easier to get the perspective of how many times do I play that when it's played a little bit faster. But as long as you're getting the mechanics down early on, you're doing great. From here, we go on to Melody B. And Melody B is quite a bit more difficult, and it breaks the mold that we've used so far. Up to this point, we've played our G string melody, and the other strings have been filler. Now the melody is going to take a turn on the A string for a little bit. So to start Melody B, what we're going to be doing is playing this sort of A minor 7 chord. And the way that we do that is we take our index finger and we bar it across our G, C, and E strings. The E string is not so important because we're not going to play it, so you want to make sure that the G and C are really well covered. And then you're going to take either your middle or ring finger and place it on the 10th fret of the A string. It doesn't really matter which one, whichever is more comfortable for you. Some people like using the ring finger so that they can stack with the middle. Whatever is comfortable for you is great. And we're going to play the A string, and then we're going to play the C string, and then the G. We're still using the 3-finger picking. I use my middle finger here on the A, and then I use my index now. Instead of on the E, I go up to the C and then play the G with my thumb. And I do that 4 times for this measure. So in time, that's something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Now this is a really tricky transition to the next part here on measure 9. We're going to go to this sort of F sharp minor. To play this, pinky goes to 9 of the A. Make sure you do that first because it's the first one played. The second thing you do is take your middle finger, place it on 6 of the C because that's the second note played. And the last thing you do is take the index and place it on 5 of the E because that's the third note played. And the good news is that's the whole thing repeated 4 times. So it is a tricky transition getting into position here, but make sure you get that pinky on 9, middle on 6 of the C, and then index on 5 of the E so that you can kind of build into it. And we're back to our sort of 4-finger picking here. Just now the thumb is on the C string, middle is here on the A string, and index is here on the E string. And in time, that sounds something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And so that we can hear it, this is the really hard transition. Hardest part of the whole song, measures 8 into 9. Should sound something like this. Nice and slow as you're practicing it. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Going right into measure 10, you're going to take this pinky, move it down 1 fret to 8, take the middle finger off, have the index finger bar across the C and E strings, and so you're going to play 8 on the A with the middle, 5 on the C with the thumb, 5 on the E with the index. And you do that 4 times. So in time, measure 10, same pattern we played on measure 9, just with different orientation of the fingers. Should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. No problem there. Then we go on to measure 11. I gotta say the right number. The reason I said 9 is because we go to fret 9 on the G string, and we actually play the exact same thing we did on measure 5. So that is measure 11. It's exactly the same as what we played on measure 5, which is using the 9 on the G with this middle finger. Very confusing numbers, but same stuff we've done before. So in time, measure 11 should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And 10 and 11 should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Going right on to measure 12, we play this D minor chord, nice and simple, bar across the 5th fret, but don't worry about the G string. We're going to play our A, C, and E, all on 5 there, and we do that 4 times. So that in time sounds something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Really straightforward. Measure 13, the first time we break our rhythmic pattern. We're going to play the same thing, only we add the middle finger here on 6 of the C, and we're going to do the same plucking pattern we did before. Just instead of playing it 4 times like we did on measure 12, we're only going to play it twice here on measure 13, ending with the 5 on the A to finish that measure. And that sort of finishes this section too. So measure 13 sounds like this in time. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And 12 and 13 should sound something like this in time. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And that finishes melody B. So let's go ahead and hear melody B through. Let's play it nice and slow because that one transition needs some practice as we go through. Should be something like this, measures 8 through 13. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Now from here, we go on to melody C, and we're back to the G string having the melody. And what's really cool about this is melody C is basically the same thing as melody A after the intro. So measures 14 and 15 are exactly the same as measures 2 and 3. So let's go ahead and hear how those sound together. Again, exactly the same. 14 and 15, same as 2 and 3, should sound something like this in time. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And measures 16 and 17 are exactly the same as measures 4 and 5, which is really neat. It's even the same first ending type of sequence. So let's go ahead and hear what those sound like. 16 and 17 together, again, exactly the same as 4 and 5. Should be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And just like we did earlier, this repeats back. So after we play measure 17, we go back to measure 14, and we play 14 and 15 again, which sound like... And after we do that repeat, we do the same thing that we did before, and we go on to measure 18, and measure 18 has that same blue note that measure 6 did. And 18 and 6 are actually exactly the same, which sound like this in time. Measure 18. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. The only difference there is that we hold the 5 on the G string for the very last set, when in measure 6 we went down to 2. That's the only difference here. So we hold that 5 on measure 18. So one more time on measure 18, just so that you can get it. You'll hear that it goes 8, and then 7, and then 5, and then hold on 5 for those 4 sets of triplets. It should be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Going into 19, now it is a little bit different. This is where it breaks away and is different than what 7 was. We're going to hold this same shape. We're going to play the G, E, A twice. See, I do that little set of triplets twice. And then I'm going to slide my middle finger down to 2 on the G. I'm going to strum through with my thumb. And then I'm going to do a triplet strum. Now to do a triplet strum, you're going to take your index finger, do a down strum, leave your thumb up top. See how it's kind of like a half strum with the hand? The index goes all the way down, but the thumb stays up. Then I move my thumb down, and and then I meet these two fingers sort of together, and I come up with the thumbnail. And so measure 19 in time should be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And going right into the end just so that you can get the context, because it's so easy. Measure 20 ends the song with just a down strum. So that triplet goes right into a down. And I think it's really important when you're practicing it to not practice 19 on its own, but rather introduce that last down right away. So that you can hear it though, here's measures 18, 19, and 20 for that second ending of melody C. It should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And let's go ahead and hear all of melody C, which again is exactly the same as melody A for the most part, right? So here's 14, 15, 16, 17, repeat 14, 15 down to 18, 19, 20. Should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And there you have it. There is the Last of Us theme for solo high G ukulele. Again, when I was first working out this arrangement, I started doing it on the A string, and I had all these complicated fingerings. I realized, wait a minute, I can flip the strings. I can do this on the G string to create a really different sounding and looking arrangement, which ended up working out really well and being a lot of fun to play. As always, if you have any questions on this arrangement, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Let me know if you have some fun playing this and if you're staying safe in the apocalypse of zombies. So, as always, thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time on the next lesson here on Rock Class 101. Thanks so much.
All right, guys, so this week's ukulele lesson was a ton of fun. This is a really cool sounding theme tune and is a lot of fun to play on the ukulele. So I wanted to give you a friendly reminder that if you did want to get the tabs to print off, keep for your records, that was available at this link right here. Or you can go to the site rockclass101.com and do a search for The Last of Us. Don't forget, on that page is the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer, so you can literally hit play, watch the tab scroll across in real time, highlight bars, loop sections, slow it down, all that fun jazz. So guys, again, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and we will catch you in the next one. Take care.